Welcome back to our channel, Asma English. Today, we continue Omar's emotional journey as he steps into a new world filled with challenges, discoveries, and unexpected moments. If you enjoyed part 1, stay with me because this chapter takes us deeper into his story. In the first part, we saw Omar preparing to leave his old hometown, a cozy place full of familiar faces, narrow streets, friendly shop owners, and friends who felt like family. We saw how the city he grew up in shaped him, how the memories filled him with warmth, and how difficult it was for him to pack up his life and start again. The part ended with him standing at the bus station, heart heavy, but determined to search for a future he believed he deserved. The moment the plane lifted from the ground, Omar felt something inside him sink. He watched the town disappear slowly beneath the clouds, the rooftops, the lighthouse, the coastline he knew better than his own reflection. Everything became smaller, softer, then vanished. For a long time he kept his forehead against the cold window, as if hoping the glass could somehow bring him closer to the life he had just left behind. His mother rested her hand on his arm and whispered, "It's a new chapter, Habibi," but the words felt too light for the weight pressing in his chest. Hours later, when the plane finally landed, the world outside felt like a dream he wasn't ready for. The air in the new city was colder, sharper, almost metallic. The buildings were tall and bright, stretching upward like giant mirrors, and the roads buzzed with cars moving in perfect order. People walked fast, not looking at one another, not greeting, not smiling. Everything moved like a machine, smooth, precise, unfamiliar. Dear apartment was on the 8th floor of a quiet building. The elevator made no sound, and Omar found that strange back home. The elevator in his building always groaned like it was complaining about its own life. Here, everything was too clean, too shiny, too silent. The apartment had white walls and wide windows overlooking the whole city. At night, Omar stood by the glass, staring at the lights spreading across the darkness like a sea of stars. It was beautiful, yes, but cold. Beautiful in a way he couldn't feel. The first week passed like a foggy dream. Omar followed his parents through supermarkets that felt like airports and streets that looked like puzzles. He nodded when people spoke to him even when he didn't understand. The language around him sounded like distant echoes, fast-clipped, emotionless. He missed the warm noise of Ol Nullah, the laughter in the market, the calls of vendors arguing over silly things, the familiar chaos that made life feel alive. School was the hardest. When he walked into the classroom on the first day, every eye turned to him for a moment, then moved away as if he were a passing sound. The teacher introduced him kindly, but the words didn't soften the loneliness of sitting in the back of a room full of strangers. During lunch, he sat alone at a table near the window, watching groups laughing together, talking fast, as if the world had room for everyone except him. And then, when he least expected it, someone sat beside him. "Hey, you're new, right? I'm Leo," the boy said with a smile that looked too easy for a place like this. His blonde hair was messy, his glasses slightly crooked, and his voice carried a warmth Omar had been starving for. Leo asked him questions not out of curiosity only, but with a genuine interest. As if Omar wasn't just a stranger, but someone worth knowing. For the first time since he arrived, Omar laughed, a small, honest laugh that surprised even him. Leo became his first anchor in the new world. Through him, Omar met Emma and Joris, two students who welcomed him without hesitation. They weren't like his friends back home, but they had their own light. The four of them spent breaks together, and slowly, Omar began to feel the coldness around him melt just a little. On the weekends, Leo took him around the city. They explored the big park with its tall trees and quiet lakes, walked through markets full of foods. Omar had never seen and visited hidden cafes, where the lights were warm and the air smelled of chocolate and old books. Sometimes, when the wind blew through the trees, Omar felt something familiar in it, something gentle, like the past breathing close by. But not every day was easy. Some nights he sat on the balcony, the city lights stretching endlessly before him, and he felt a loneliness so deep it hurt. He missed the sound of waves near the restaurant where he worked. He missed Kareem's calm voice and Sammy's loud laughter. He missed the bakery, the market, the hill where they used to sit and dream. He missed the version of himself that existed there. And then, one night, his phone buzzed. A voice message. He recognized the sender before he even unlocked the screen. Say me, bro. The hill looks empty without you. Kareem fixed your old wooden box. We miss you. Tell us how the new place is. Tell us everything. Omar listened to it twice, 3 times. And somewhere between the words, the laughs, the silence at the end, his eyes filled. Hugh recorded a message back, telling them about the tall buildings, about Leo, about the food that tasted strange but interesting, about the way the city lights shone at night like stars living on the streets. That message changed something in him. It reminded him that home wasn't a place. It was people, memories, pieces of the heart that followed him even across oceans. Little by little, Omar built a new routine. He learned new words. He found his favorite path to school. He created a habit of buying hot chocolate from the cafe under his building. He joined a study group. He helped Leo with math. He learned to laugh again. But the moment that truly shifted, everything came during the school's cultural day. Students were invited to present something from their home countries. At first, Omar wanted to stay silent. What if no one cared? What if they didn't understand? But Leo insisted, show them who you are. They'll like it. I promise. So Omar prepared. He printed photos of Al Nala, the narrow streets, the blue cafe, the lighthouse, the bakery, the market. He brought seashells he collected from the beach years ago. He drew the hill where he and his friends used to sit at sunset. And he wrote a short paragraph about the feeling of leaving home. When he stood in front of the class, his hands shook. His voice trembled. But as he spoke, the room grew quiet, not the cold quiet he first felt when he arrived, but a listening quiet. A warm one. When he finished, the class clapped. Emma told him his town sounded magical. Jorah said, "One day we'll go with you." The teacher smiled, proud. And for the first time, Omar felt seen. Not as the new kid, not as the outsider, but as Omar, with his past, his story, his heart. That night, standing by the window, he looked at the city again. The lights still dazzled him, but now they didn't feel cold. They felt like a promise, like a future he could learn to love. He whispered softly to himself, I can belong to 2 places, maybe even more. And for the first time since he arrived, he believed it. This part of Omar's journey, we follow him through the emotional transition of leaving his hometown behind. From the moment the plane takes off, he carries a heavy sadness, watching the place he loves disappear beneath the clouds. When he arrives in the new, cold, organized city, everything feels unfamiliar, the streets, the people, even the silence. Omar struggles through his first days. The language feels distant, the routines feel strange, and school is the hardest part, where he sits alone and unnoticed. But everything begins to change the moment he meets Leo, a friendly, warm classmate, who makes Omar feel seen. Through Leo, Omar meets new friends and starts discovering small pieces of comfort, new places, new foods, new routines. Still, the homesickness doesn't disappear. He misses his old life deeply, until one night, he receives a voice message from his best friend, Sami. Hearing familiar voices softens something inside him and reminds him that home is not just a place, it's people and memories. The turning point comes during the school's cultural day. Omar shares photos, drawings, and memories from his hometown. For the first time, the class listens to him with warmth and respect. They see him, truly see him, and this helps him feel like he can belong in more than one place. By the end, Omar realizes that his journey isn't finished. It's only the beginning of a new chapter filled with challenges, growth, and possibilities. Before we end, I want to ask you a few questions. Tell me your answers in the comments. Why do you think Omar struggled so much when he first arrived in the new city? 2. Which moment do you think helped him the most in feeling less alone? How did Leo change the direction of Omar's story? What does the cultural day reveal about Omar's identity? Do you think Omar will visit his hometown soon, or will he wait longer? What do you expect in part 3? Will Omar face new challenges? Will he find a new passion? Will someone unexpected enter his life? Will the past return in surprising ways? Thank you for listening to part 2 of Omar's journey through. If you enjoyed this episode and want to follow the next chapter of his life, Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 3. A lot more emotion, growth, and discovery is coming next. See you in the next story.